Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about how to get into canoeing and kayaking. So for me, this is where it started, on the River Spey in Aberdeenshire in Scotland. For many years now, one of my greatest passions is practicing bushcraft and survival skills. I love going on lots of different adventures, and I like to apply my skills I have learned on these adventures. However, there was one type of adventure that was missing from life, and that was canoeing and kayaking. Back in 2015, I went on my very first canoe trip on the River Spey. The trip lasted 4 days, and it was one of the best adventures I had ever been on. It was from this point that I caught the bug for canoeing. However, I never got to paddle again for 3 years after this trip. That's until my wife bought me this, which is my inflatable canoe / kayak made from a company called Sevilor. It is with this craft that I was able to get on the water more often. It offered me opportunities to paddle on a regular basis, as it's able to compact down to a small size that will fit in the back of a car, and it's easy to store regardless where you live. It will fit in a little room cupboard if need be. I started by paddling on canals down south. I shortly moved to Scotland to be closer to my favourite river, the River Spey. It was here that I met some like-minded people. I have met some good friends and neighbours who also paddle inflatable canoes. John, in the white kayak, you may have seen him in previous videos. He has quite a few inflatable crafts, and he's a huge supporter of them. There's a variety of ways of getting into canoeing and kayaking. Commonly, people would just join their local club. Sometimes people would even just rent out a craft. However, this can be very costly, and a lot of clubs these days seem to cater to families and children. Having your own craft means you get to go out as many times as you want and whenever you want. Last year, I had finished building my very own open style Canadian canoe, and she's my pride and joy. I absolutely love paddling this boat. On the other hand though, there is disadvantages to owning an open canoe, mainly with storage and transportation. This is where the inflatable canoe has its advantages, as it's easy to store and pack away and also to transport, and can even be used on multiple day journeys. If I could paddle my open canoe on every trip, I would. However, it's not convenient for a day paddle because the people who I paddle with don't have a roof rack for their car to pick it up at the other end. I have noticed a lot of snobbery from experts within the canoeing and kayaking communities on social media, and this is about the inflatable craft, and they're not taken seriously within that community, as obviously if they're not hard shell, so therefore they're not real boats. But on the other hand, if you're not using your inflatable canoe or kayak for sport, and it's only there for recreation and also to travel and to do some wild camping in, then hey, I'd say have an inflatable, because it's easy for most people to own one and also to store one regardless where you live. This is how I see it. If you have the ability to store and transport a hardshell canoe or kayak, then by all means do so. But for those who don't have those means, wouldn't you rather paddle an inflatable craft than not get to paddle at all? I think you should weigh up your options there. But either way, you're outdoors and enjoying your paddling adventures.